Alright, so as promised, here's your front video. This whole assembly is scooted back, but you can tell with the tire on it. You can't really tell without the tire being on it, but I'd say that might have something to do with it. And that bent lower control arm. There's not really a whole lot to the front suspension, thankfully. So I'm going to replace the bent lower control arm and the tie rod end. I don't know if he got the front control arm or not, but we'll see. I'll start disassembling it and record as I go. The front outer tie rod bolt or nut is an 18 millimeter. Let's see what that is. A 21 millimeter. I do have one of those here somewhere. Yep, it's over here. I'm really hoping the frame is not bent here, because that is very close quarters. Then you have 21 down here on the bottom as well. So once you get this one out, it's pretty much straightforward from there. I'll pull that boot off there and see if that inner tie rod end is even serviceable. If not, then we'll be getting a rack and pinion. Alright, so I finally got the lower control arm off, and I've unboxed the kit. These are outer tie rod ends, sway bar links, lower control arms, I think. Actually, no, that's the front control arms. These are the lowers. I'm pretty sure they're the same part number. Oh, almost fell. Nope, they're not the same part number. This one ends in 8-1, that one ends in 8-0, so I'll have to try to match it up to this side and see exactly how it's going to fit. And considering the fact that we have inner tie rod ends, I'm going to assume that this is serviceable. So that's the lower control arm. This is what it's supposed to look like. It was an absolute nightmare to get out of there, simply because it was in such a bind. Sitting on lug nuts, it's stabbing me in the butt. Alright, so the difference between the two, I'm going to assume, is where these holes are at. Yep. So this is going to be the left side, which ends in 8-1. And then this one's 8-0, so this is the passenger side. Mainly because of the holes that are here. It doesn't have the stop on it. Oh, that's on the top side anyways. Never mind. Alright, let's get after it. Already got the outer tie rod end loose on the front. This can be manipulated wherever you need it to be. The wheel sensor is free enough. You don't have to worry about breaking it. The brake line may be a different story, but in this instance I can move it, but I don't need to move it to a point where it's going to end up pulling it all the way out. The wheel is slightly turned to the left inside, but that's not going to matter, simply because I can go wherever. And you can see this is all the way out as far as the sway bar link will allow. And it doesn't pull on the line. Alright. Be back when I'm done. Here we are using the screw jack again. I couldn't get it to pull down, so I went ahead and tightened the back. Tried to push this up into there, and no matter how much I pushed, I could not get the center post to stay still. So I put the jack under the edge of the lower ball joint, and that should put me where I need to be on tension. Now remember, these are 21s. Most everything on this front is 21. Man alive. That nylock is pretty tight. Threads are good. I mean, kind of. It's a disadvantage to Chinesium, honestly. Now we'll spin the jack back down. Thankfully, I don't have to do this with the tool. Easy, easy. I'll be flipping out. Alright, onto the tie rod end. Ooh, she's tight. I may very well have to knock the tie rod end back out. Yeah, that's definitely what I'm going to have to do. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, the tie rod end was loose, although it was still stuck in the hole. It's bent in such an angle that you can't do much but pry it out or cut it out. If I had a sawzall or a bandsaw, that would have been the first thing that I would have done, but I don't have one, so I used my pry bar, stuck it in here under the sway bar link, and pried down on it, and turned the passenger side completely in before it came all the way out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this changed out. Okay, assuming you didn't destroy this trying to get the inner tie rod end off, you'll want to take it off and put it on the new inner tie rod end. Take your jam nut off. Slide your old boot onto the new inner tie rod end. And it does have a specific spot that it sits. You can see the cutout here on the bottom, but you don't want to push it to that point yet until you get the inner tie rod end threaded into the vehicle. I did take the old one off with a crescent wrench, so it can be done. It's not exactly the easiest, but it's definitely not hard either. Just get under there with a decent sized crescent wrench. I have this one out here, and then pry. If you're underneath, you pry towards the front of the vehicle. You want to assemble this, get it threaded in there, make sure your threads are seated before you start putting torque on it, because it is tight all the way in. I also forgot to mention here, you need to put the hose clamp on there that comes off of it, which this is the factory hose clamp.